Sound, a group of vibrant.
From the beginner to the professional, from the novice to the master, from playing around, experimenting with things to create a masterpiece. These are all the elements of art, and the art on this show is sound. Hi, I'm LV Smith, host of that show called Sounds Within. And I have this friend, man. I mean, I do consider him a friend because it's not just to bring people in. We actually start to connect with each other, start to talk and do things, and you realize this person knows more things than you do, and you want to learn more about it, and him. So I'm pleased to welcome back with great pride, yes, great pride, Mr. Richard Penn. Is it Richard Penn or Pittman?
Richard Penn. The legal name is Pittman. The acting name is Penn.
Okay, I'm going to edit that part. And I'm proud to welcome back Richard Penn. Welcome back, Richard. Come on back in here.
LV, you and Ken, hello.
I miss you, man. I really miss you.
Well, we have to get together. We have to get together. Even if it's just lunch, I have to see you.
We will be seen. Hey, folks, we're going to be having live broadcasts instead of this Zoom stuff down the road, so stay tuned. We'll talk more about that later. But Richard, you've been all over the place. I can barely find you. What have you been doing?
Well, again, I travel to Nashville at least once a year. I have a Christmas gig there. That's my friend Cowboy Keith Thompson. He's still going strong in Nashville. He's got a studio. He's got a club, and I have a gig. He says every Christmas you come and you recite the night before Christmas with a live band. So I've done it now twice. And it's a thrill. It's great to work with a live band, to do a narration, and anything could happen. And it's a lot of comedy. It's cabaret. It's pretty good.
Cabaret. Oh,
yeah.
Now we have a lot of young folks here. What is a cabaret?
Well, a cabaret, I think it goes back to Europe, and it goes back, I think, like to the 30s in Berlin and in Paris, the Lido and the Moulin Rouge and places like that, where, the fancy people dress up, they go out, they drink champagne, and they see a show. Moulin Rouge, to see that dancing show, and to see the girls, the can and kick high, that kind of thing. That's what it is, So that's the vibe.
I had to ask you that because a lot of people now think of Moulin Rouge as a horror show because,
Exactly.
the movie.
Exactly. Yeah. No, exactly. Yep, exactly. No, it goes back with the Paris in the 1920s, maybe even the teens, so it's a theatrical tradition in Europe. And over here, they know the movie Cabaret, and that tells you visually what it was. If you see that movie, excellent movie, by the way.
Yes, it is. And it was great acting there, but we're going to focus more on you. So I remember the last time you were here, you performed for us. Yes. And that was a great thing, but your studio work is exquisite, man. We got to get you back with a band or something here.
When you guys do go back to the studio, I've got that wired up and hooked up. I'll be happy to do that because I've got people to play with. I've got basically a band, and they know my music. We've been rehearsing. So I can come in with a little band, a little two-piece, plus me, so a little trio. That'd be great.
That's great, but what you've been actually composing?
Oh, yes. Yeah. Now, I am writing. I'm always writing music. I'm in Southern California, and I've got my buddies here, and basically they're all singer-songwriters. So they've got all their own music, and I've got all my own music. So we recorded my house, and we recorded my buddy Art Stucco's house. So there's a few places we record, and Art and all that, yeah. So what the sound is, what we kind of do, that sort of Southern California kind of laid-back sound. So we've got that going.
The Sunland sound.
Exactly.
I love Art Stucco. I'm going to try to get him there one day. I got to have him. I just immersed with him. And it's funny how we met at that place. Now it's called The Therapy. That's where I saw Art Stucco, and then I saw you playing there. And
yes.
And I just
yes,
said, man.
yes. Yes. Yeah, I got to sit in. I think I got to sit in twice. I got to sit in once. I think you were on bass, but one time you weren't on bass. Somebody else was. So we only got to play once. So we've got to correct that.
That's all right. No, I wasn't with you playing. I was in there soaking it up. And that's when I said, who's this guy? He represents me. I gotta have him. Man, that's great.
Well, that's it on the music scene. I'm still always got my home studio. And I'm actually starting to give little guitar lessons and things like that. And so I'm always keeping my hand in the music, you know. It's not just the acting world that I was in, but the music world is where my heart is, and it's just not where my money is.
Yeah.
The money's not there.
Really? You would not think it after doing a commercial with Ozzy Osbourne?
Well, it helped. It helped with the younger people who saw it, and they really, you know, they love Ozzy. But again, you know, it's one world, and you know this. It's another music's another world. That's why I go to Nashville. In Nashville, I have a little bit more of a music profile. Here, not so much, unless playing in the clubs. But in Nashville, I can get professional people to play. They'll do your music, and basically in the studio with those guys, you learn so much. I mean, you learn an incredible amount. I tell them, they put my guide track on with my guitar, but then they dump it. I said, just let me sit and watch you guys. Now tell me what I should be doing on guitar.
Great. Let's take a little break, and we're going to hear about you and this thing called Macho Man.
We are.
Okay, folks, we're going to take a little breather, get your beverage, do what you have to do, and we'll be right back with Richard Penn. Stay tuned, folks.
Hey, it's Amin L. And Thursday night is live with Jeff Hodge. Come on down and check him out.
My poetry is about viewing the world as I saw it as a young man, and down to the ages I continued to write verse. I used that as a creative expression, but it also helped me through life because I could address certain issues, certain feelings, and certain appreciations. I'm a retired school psychologist, and helping people was my thing. After my stroke, when Meals on Wheels started, I was on the other end of the stick, so to speak, and suddenly I realized I was there where those other people were. My name is Julius Gaines, creative writer, poet, photographer. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Hi, I'm Roger Anthony Whiting.
And Mark Ricciardi.
And you are watching the Arroyo Channel.
Hi, this is Richard Penn, and you're listening to Sounds Within with Mr. L.V. Smith.
Thank you, Richard. That was just a tiny little tease of Macho Man. This is L.V. Smith again of Sounds Within with my special guest, Richard Penn. And he's really a true Renaissance man. I mean, he's into music. Now, I didn't know he did this thing in commercials, but he's also an actor. But to find out he's also behind the camera. So we're going to find out about Richard Penn in film. Tell us, Richard. Welcome back. Welcome back. Hey, Richard. What is this movie you were part of called Macho?
Oh, well, it's a kind of a coming of age story. It takes place in the 80s. There's a great 80s soundtrack. I met a few people in Southern, of course, same connection. And they had a script. It just, it just needed to be, it was a great idea for a script. So they just needed to be filled out and expanded and realized. And that's what, fortunately, my friend Evan Slamka let me do with this project. So that's what I did. We shot a trailer in the month of August, got it edited, put together, and it'll be, actually, we shot 2 trailers to do it. We got a great producer, Mr. Andreas. He's Greek, and I told him I would not torture his last name. But we started this in August, and we got the trailer shot. I am now working on the screenplay, which is something new for me, because I'm not necessarily a screenwriter, but that's what I'm doing now. So shooting the trailer, working on the screenplay, the soundtrack's already done. We're doing good. We're getting close. Been on it for about 6 months now. And we should be ready soon. Looking for buyers. We have a nice package, promo package, great actors. I'd like to mention their names if I could, just 2. I'd like to mention right now if I could. The lead actor is Wesley Dean, young actor, and the female actress in it is Andrea Adamson, and they're both great LA actors. And I'm looking forward to working more with them and seeing that their careers take off.
Okay, great. Now, how did you walk in to getting this job as a screenwriter? You said you weren't a screenwriter.
Right.
So how did that happen?
Well, again, they knew my acting. So everything springs from acting. We met at the Starbucks, that's our little meeting place. And they started asking me about what I do. I said, I'm an actor. They said, well, you're great, we're musicians. Why don't you check this out and look at our script? I did. And I said, it's a great idea. Let's expand it. And that's what I did. Then I directed the trailer, and the script started falling together from that. And now we've got 2 trailers, a good script, a good cast. It's called Macho Man, and it's an 80s coming of age kind of comedy drama with great music, great 80s soundtrack music. So that's
Great.
that little project,
Great. Now, what are some of the challenges in becoming a screenwriter, especially as a new one?
Oh, the new one, the basic challenge I have is that I come from writing short stories, and now everything has to be visual. So to start thinking from the literal to the visual, very hard. Not to depend on too much dialogue. It's a movie. It's about showing, not about necessarily speaking. So I had to really cross over from short story writing to visual thinking, and it's been a challenge. It's been a challenge, but I've been reading, I've been studying, I've been, trying to make that leap. And I think I did okay for my first time. We'll see on the next one. We'll see on the next one. But that's it. That's the big challenge. Making it visual, not too many words, not literal, but visual.
Great. That must be a real challenge to make some.
It is. Well, when you're used to, I come from poetry and all of that, none of that is really visual. I mean, it is in terms of the writing, but film is pure. You go back to the silent movie era, no sound. How did they do it? Just picture. That is pure cinema. Sound came in 15 years later. So it's about the visual, telling the story visually, taking all the dialogue out, just showing the story visually doesn't make sense that way. Then you add the dialogue. That's been my little method.
Wow. That is mind-spinning.
I was going to say, does that make sense?
Yeah, I'm trying to wrap my head around this, like, gee, how would this work with what's out now in social media, like TikTok?
Well, I mean, the basic thing in film, I don't think has ever changed. You have to visually tell the story. Dialogue can't always help you. You have to move the story along visually. So TikTok and all that just makes you think in these tiny little chunks. That's the way we think now anyway,
mind spinning indeed. Hey, let's tease the audience. Let's show them just a little bit of Macho Man there. See what they are in for. Okay.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, folks. We'll be right back. Let's take a little tease and then we'll take a little breather and be right back with Richard Penn. Here we go.
The days are going much too long. I think I need to see you soon. In times when I feel so alone, I like to have someone to talk to, 'cause I'm so into you. I would do it.
Hey everybody, we are Ohm, I am Pag,
Chris Poland, Gene McEwen.
and you are watching the Arroyo channel.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made her college years happen. Wacha. Opening that education savings account when she was little. Spearheading a campus tour. And another, and another, and another, and another. Bam! Deciphering financial aid. She was like, what? Well, now she's like, you aced planning for college. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
Hi, this is Richard Penn, and you're listening to LV Smith, Sounds Within.
Hello, we're the group Alice.
And you're watching
The Arroyo channel. Stay tuned.
Hey, folks, this is LV Smith of Sounds Within with my special guest, Richard Penn. Man, that was trippy. What inspired that? I mean, where'd that come from?
All comes out of here.
What were you thinking of when that happened?
Well, you just start, art's an interesting thing. And one thing leads to another in art. Music leads to acting, acting leads to painting, painting leads to photography. It's all connected. And it's all should be involved in dance. So it's all art to me. If that makes any sense.
Now, you put on a director's hat. Now, you began as a story writer. Then you say, okay, I will enter in as a screenwriter. Now you're playing director. What was that like?
Well, that was really different because I really avoided that my entire life because I think there are actors and then there are directors. Some people can cross back, but the best that I've worked with were directors who direct. Acting act, directors direct. So I've learned the most from the people who were quote unquote directors. So I came from acting. I was really reluctant to go into directing, but now I'm kind of being pushed and forced into it. And I think it's a good thing, very good thing. So it opens you up in terms of even your acting to try to explain to somebody what you want.
Wow. Okay. So you said you were pushed into that. Now, were you pushed into that or were you encouraged to try your hand at that?
Well, I've always been encouraged, but this time I was actually pushed because there was an idea for a script. They did have, actors, they had things in place, but they just could not find somebody to be the right fit to direct this. They interviewed a few people, talked to a few people, and they said, yes, yes, yes. And then it just died. So it was dying. I said, look, this can't die. Let's just do this ourselves. So I'm the quote unquote director, but there's probably about 3 of us. But that's what happened. Necessity. Necessity is the mother of invention, so it was out of necessity.
Okay, so you aren't so much saying, get in there and do that. No, you just said, I will volunteer and take
Yes.
this on. Even though it's a new experience, I'm going to see what I can do to make this
Exactly.
bird fly.
As long as everybody knows I'm new at it, and so and they're patient with me, and because everybody's kind of new at it themselves. So this is a good way for me to get in directorially,
So you will be doing more directing.
Yes, I do think so. I do think so. It might even be more theater type things, scenes type things, but I'm doing little short movies on my own without actors to try to learn editing, because I'm learning. Editing is where it's at.
Uh-oh. Guess I better get into editing more seriously then. Okay, Richard, what are some of your future plans?
Well, I'm still doing more projects. I have an animation project that we've been working on really for animation. Takes so long, but I have an animation partner in New York. He's actually teaches animation in New York. He's very good. We have this little story I wrote called Bloodlines. He loved it. And we started shooting this several years ago, little bits and pieces when he comes out. I actually got to do music for it. So I'm actually doing music in it also. But when Bloodlines is done, we'll let you know. It'll be a piece of animation, something different. This will be my second piece of animation. So the first was called Grit. We did a short called Grit. And that actually got picked up and shown in New York Metropolitan Museum of Art as a part of a retrospective for Cal Arts that they had. And that got picked up. So I got to fly to New York, go to the Met, and sit there in the big theater and see our thing in a huge screen. And that was a thrill.
Fantastic. Okay, Richard, since that demon called time is creeping in,
yep.
What are your words of wisdom to the future Richard Penns? Be it
I remember last year we talked about kindness, and I think that's still there. Kindness, but actually I'm learning as I get closer to my age, rounding out to the 70s, listening. I'm learning now not to talk so much. Listen. For any artist, there's so much pedantic, there's so many words, there's so many visuals. When the play starts, unless you have the first line, you have to listen. Very simple.
Yes.
To listen to each other and to not just hear, but to actually listen, regardless of your background, regardless of who you pray to, whatever you do, but to listen to the other fellow, the other person. I think it's very important now. We've lost that.
Yes, we have, and needed so much this time. How can the audience contact you?
Well, I'm just old-fashioned. I don't have a website right now. I just do things through the projects that I do. They maintain the websites, but I could always be. My resume is always on imdb.com. Richard Penn. That has certain information. I'm terrible about this. I'm really terrible about this part of it. I don't have websites. I don't have that. I think this year I have to. So right now I'm just contacted through the union and through telephone and email. But my email, that's what I have. If people want to contact me, if you want to do that, that's up to you.
Give your email.
It is Richard.Pitt, Pitt, Penn, PENN @gmail.com. That is Richard.Pittpenn@gmail.com.
Great. You will come back, will you?
Yeah, and you will be playing at my house in my studio, will you?
I can't say no to that.
Okay.
Richard, I love you, man.
LV.
You take care, my brother.
Thank you very much, and take care. Goodbye to everyone. Peace.
Bye. Okay, folks, this has been another episode of Sounds Within with LV Smith. Do stay tuned for the future episodes that are coming down the road and soon to be live. And yeah, we'll see you, folks. Peace.
Ready? We're the Reactions, and you're watching the Arroyo Channel.